What's going on, everyone? Welcome to PE's Finest Podcast, where we talk all things PE. I'm Andrew.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Tristan. And no, we're not certified teachers yet, but we're getting there. And we've got some thoughts.
Yeah, so today we're diving into something we've all been talking about between classes and honestly in the group chat, professional development, specifically for K through 5 PE teachers.
Because let's be real, most of the professional development we've seen in schools during student teaching is either really good or, really unprofessional.
I agree. We've all heard stories about how many physical education teachers don't care too much about physical education. They only care about the 3 sports they coach after school.
So this episode is all about what works, what doesn't, and what we hope to see when we're the ones teaching full time.
All right, let's get into it. This is our first segment, What's Broken in Professional Development. We can all agree professional development can be hit or miss. So what do we think the worst type of professional development is we've seen?
Okay, during my placement, PE teachers had to sit through a full day about reading strategies, not even on how to incorporate reading into PE, just straight up guided reading groups. But for PE, as a PE teacher, I think, teaching kids other strategies and other tips that they could use outside of school is really huge. So that's what I think we have to keep in mind.
I had a mentor teacher who said the only professional development she got that year was about standardized testing. She teaches kindergarten physical education. Come on, they're still learning how to walk in a straight line.
All throughout high school and even during my placements at SUNY Cortland, I've seen many different PE teachers just completely zone out in the back, kind of just rolling out the ball, letting their students play, and they kind of just sit there, don't really give feedback, don't buy into it at all. And honestly, I can't even blame them.
Yeah, for sure. Especially some professional development I've been assigned for classes. It's really not designed for what we actually do. It's just reading and just reading a whole bunch of paragraphs that aren't really interesting. I feel like it's just a waste of time for me. It's it's in times of one thing we don't really have as teachers. I feel like hands-on stuff would be way more important and just overall more effective for us.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's not that PE teachers don't want to grow. We just want to be professional. We just want professional development that makes sense for our reality, such as high energy, lots of kids, movement, safety, structure, and developmentally appropriate stuff. And again, I'll touch base on what I said before. Our goal is not only to make them physically active and to follow the curriculum, but just to also teach them strategies that they could use in such as sports, extracurricular activities, after school, and lifelong lessons that they could use throughout the rest of their life.
So to you guys, what do you think would good professional development look like for us?
Honestly, just a crash course on how to manage 40 kindergartners with pool noodles could be an idea. Could help us out
definitely.
a lot.
Yeah, no, I agree. But seriously, management in a gym is a whole different planet than in a classroom. I want practical, you can use this tomorrow kind of tips. And I think management is super, super important. I think it's the foundation of building your classroom and your environment for students, especially at the elementary level. You have students that, from K through 5, right? That's what we're talking about. They lose focus easily. So the main thing is to find something that they could be very, attentive to and not distracted, and build on that. And if you find something that they'll listen to, or find just something small where you could grab their attention really quick, that's what's gonna set the tone, and that's when you could teach them what you have to teach them, and their knowledge, you gotta explain what they have to know in your each curriculum, and just to build on that is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Just from our small experience teaching in the elementary field, K-5, it's just chaotic. They're everywhere. So I really would love to learn how to differentiate without totally losing control. I've been to plenty of conferences for professional development with the APEM club here, and just the smallest things I've taken away is classroom management at Cortland. Like what we learn here is very slim because it's hard to teach that in a college classroom. So going to things like that and learning different strategies to control your classroom is huge. Like really what it comes down to, I want to learn what do I do when some kids are ready for team games and others are still trying to figure out how to like dribble a basketball, how to like control that chaos when you can't really help them learn how to dribble or like learn how to do something. They're still trying to learn and other people are like way advanced and they're losing patience.
I agree. The biggest thing with me is how to get professional development with students who are adapted, such as like how do I adapt games for kids with mobility needs or sensory issues. I don't want to like guess or like throw them out there. I want to be trained and well developed to get these kids where they need to be since they're already adapt and they're a little far back than other kids in their class.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Sean. And can we talk about tech a little bit? There's so much cool stuff out there, like apps, heart rate monitors, video assessments. Through K through 12, it being so chaotic, I feel like a lot of PE teachers specifically, they don't really implement those resources that are just handed to us. And I want professional development that helps me use that in a way that's not overwhelming. So maybe like learning about all this technology that we can use, maybe taking a couple classes on the different technologies and how we can implement them into our teach, because you don't really see that a lot. And if the resources are there, might as well use them. And I believe that they could be definitely beneficial.
Yeah, T, I agree with you on that too, and especially like having technology for students with disabilities is really big. I have a concentration in adapted PE, and we learn a lot about different types of technology to assist these students so they could participate in sports that other students are participating in. They don't feel left out and they could still get their work done. And that's really huge.
Yeah, and also being that technology, like we're so surrounded by it every single day, we can't escape it. That's how the world is today. You're never going to escape technology, so might as well use it if it's given to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in schools, I'm a substitute teacher. And obviously we've been in plenty of placements being college students. You see how like more technology reliant students are becoming. So they really need to see visuals, and that's a big part of technology, using like GIFs, different video things. Like not everyone learns the same way. So like hands-on could be one way, but technology really helps those visual learners for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's going to end our segment on what we actually want to see. And then we're going to talk about some professional development in the next segment that actually worked for us. All right, we're going to get into our next segment. But before, we'd like to shout out a few of our sponsors.
We got Hilltop, great chicken wraps. We got New Big Nights, make some great chicken sandwiches. You got Chicken Bop, some great bowls that they make, and you got Bistro. They have a great spread over there. These places, fuel our minds, and that's why we are who we are today, I should say.
Yeah, they fuel our PE minds, so shout out to them. All right, segment 3, we're gonna talk about how professional development we've done that has actually worked. So, shout out time. Have any of us actually seen good professional development in action?
Yeah. I've seen some good professional development in action over the course of the 4 years here, out in the field. PE teacher at my placement went hands-on workshop called game-based learning K through 5. Came back with a full binder of games. I saw him use like 10 of them in a week. Kids were really into it. They really bought in. They were really excited. He made it very creative for them, so it was really cool to see that and get some ideas for the future.
My host teacher explained to me how she changed how she handled conflict in class. More the breathing exercises, different types of choices of games, fewer punishments. It ended up working really well for students, and she felt that she created more relationship with the students. This really stuck with me because as a PE teacher, I want to build a relationship with my student. If my student isn't like me that day or having trouble with the game, I want to make sure I'm there for he or her and make sure that they feel like welcomed in the PE building.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of peer feedback. We had a day here where I taught a full lesson on volleyball out in my placement for 355. After my lesson, each one of my peers and my teacher gave me feedback on how my teach went. They mentioned things that worked well, what could I improve on, things like that. This really opened my mind because things that were said by my peers, I wouldn't have thought of unless they said what they had to say. And it was way more useful than just sitting down in a classroom watching a PowerPoint on professional development and peer feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. I can back Tristan up on that. I can say that from the placements I've been in, 355, 256, the best time to learn from your mistakes is teaching, and then a current professional teacher giving you feedback. You would think professional development would have to be a hands-on workshop or an online workshop, but it really can be something as simple as having someone observe you and give you feedback. And also don't underestimate just watching a great teacher. Observing in 256 for us, I'm sure was really helpful because we can actually see what a classroom looks like, how a teacher controls classroom management, stuff like that. But also on top of that, going to conferences and these hands-on workshops have worked for me because personally, we're talking K-5 here. I never wanted to teach K-5. I never wanted to teach elementary before I went to these. And now I've seen so many creative things that you can do with students that are young and just have fun with elementary kids. So that definitely has helped me for sure. I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, going and teaching and seeing all of this hands-on experience has definitely been eye-opening. I never really thought that I would teach or want to teach K through 5. It was never really in my interest. But now looking back, teaching elementary students, watching other teachers teach elementary students definitely changed my perspective on it all. Yeah.
And I agree with both you guys. And a little bit off subject, but it also relates to this too. It's okay to make mistakes and with your teaching and everything, and you build on your mistakes and you got to think of the positives of that. And if you're doing a lesson and it doesn't work out, you got to think on the fly. And I think thinking on the fly has got to be the top, a top 3 rule in being a PE teacher or any teacher, as a matter of fact. And it's just because one day you have something planned, and then all of a sudden, something doesn't go right. You might have a student that doesn't want to do it. You might have the whole class just not into it that day. And at the end of the day, you want your students to learn and get the most out of your class. So in order to do that, you got to find a lesson. You got to find something that will grab their interest, but also a way to, give them the knowledge they need. And that's in your curriculum. So yeah, I agree with you guys. I think making mistakes is a part of the process, and I think building on it is really key.
Yeah, to piggyback on that a little bit, you could write a whole lesson plan. You could have 5 tasks, but in reality, when it comes to actually getting in the class and teaching, you might only get through 1 or 2 tasks, and that's totally fine as long as the students are getting something out of it and learning something that day. That's all that really matters.
Absolutely. I think, as both of them were saying, it's just something as simple as teaching and practicing what you're doing can be considered professional development. You're developing your skills, and I think that's also something people don't think of. Something as simple as practice is also considered professional development. All right, we're going to take a break, get into the next segment. It is called Making Professional Development Better.
So here's the next question. How do we make professional development actually work for physical education teachers?
Oh, first, get PE teachers in the room with professional development is being planned. Don't just toss them in with the 3rd grade math crew,
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, letting PE teachers lead professional development sessions. Who's better to teach us about behavior management in the gym than someone who actually is teaching it in the gym?
Yeah, for sure. We can even start while we're in college, host a student-led workshop or invite a teacher in, or even take your free time and go and observe a teacher. Do a skills exchange. It doesn't have to be fancy. There's plenty of opportunities, especially here at Cortland, to expand your professional development without having to travel super far for it.
And the biggest thing with me is we got to keep learning outside of school too, such as conferences, YouTube channels, social media, even just trading ideas in the group chat. To me, that's the biggest thing with me. I like to talk to my peers and see like what's working for them, and I take their ideas and bring it to my physical education classroom.
Yeah, even like keeping in contact with your peers even after we graduate. If we're not seeing each other in person, like we have each other's numbers, just shooting back ideas back and forth, seeing what's working well, what's not, and how you can always improve.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to have coworkers that you work with, other fellow colleagues like that are PE teachers as well, to bounce ideas off of, as well as your teachers from Cortland, and even like your own high school and middle school that you had when you were younger. Giving them a call, like catch up on things, but also asking them like, hey, when I was in school, what did you do? And you get some like maybe some old school lessons that no one really uses anymore that might benefit the kids today.
Absolutely. Kind of just to like piggyback on what you both said, it's about using those connections that you've built throughout college and like you might have from high school. Find those teachers that maybe they teach elementary or like any grade level you're looking into. Use them, ask some questions, have them give you, like we talked about, peer feedback. Just have them really look at what you're doing and just do your best to like improve. And that's just, we talked about it before, but it's a kind of professional development that works for some people. It also could just not work for you. So there's plenty of professional development out there that people can try. Not every single person's going to learn from the same thing. So we're going to take a last break, and then we're going to kind of go over our final takeaways from our podcast so far. All right, last segment, we're going to kind of recap what we talked about. Just to wrap it up, let's all go over what's our dream professional development session. Go.
Summer physical education camp, like full-on obstacle courses, lesson building, barbecue at the end, maybe a high ropes course in there, but yeah, let's go.
Mine would be inclusive games camp, so that we would wait and help that students have their time, their physical education as well.
Yeah, I definitely want a tech in PE boot camp. I want to be able to play with some gear, not just hear about it. Gaining knowledge about actually using tech in PE class would be a very helpful resource.
Yeah, I think mine would be a professional development retreat in the woods, maybe Racket Lake, PE teachers only, maybe some students that have been together, campfire lesson planning, relay races, high ropes like Anthony said, just chill time with people who get it.
Yeah, Professor Boyd, maybe you could organize a little trip for the class to go to Racket Lake again. That'd be pretty cool, maybe for a weekend or something on finals week. Maybe miss a few finals. No, I'm kidding. But if anyone out there, planning that, call us. We'd be down to get things going.
Definitely.
And also, if you have a wild professional development story or an awesome one, hit us up. Tag us at PE Finest Podcast or send us a DM.
Yeah, we'll definitely shout you out on the next episode.
Yeah, so that was our podcast. Thanks for tuning in. That's it for today. Stay moving, stay curious.